Welcome back, everybody. Right, we're going to have a very optimistic drawing today of a dwarf, even though he hasn't got a beard, but he's got sort of this wonderfully elongated Bronson moustache, having a bit of a bar fight. So let's do it. Let's go real quick. So I'm only saying about going quick because it's really hot, and I think it'll be nice if we have a bit of a quick one. So apologies if I completely forget to talk and instead you just hear me grunting and moaning. How's everyone today? Been having a good weekend? So, right. So I had a couple of variations of this one, and this is by far the biggest drawing that came about from my little practice sketches. And even though normally I would like to stick it to a little bit smaller, it just seemed like a really fun drawing, so here we are. So we're going to see how much we can do in, I would like to do about 45 minutes and no more. And there's a finger, another finger. If we have time, we'll do some shading, but might try and stick to just lots of nice little details. So what's happened is, what I'm thinking is the lovely moustached gentleman over here might be some sort of tavern keep or bouncer. And as I was drawing these rambunctious scallywags, I was thinking, oh, maybe they're a group of like pirates or something, and they've come into the bar and they've caused a bit of mischief and chaos as usual, and our dwarf is not having any of it. So we got his tusk. So this one I think is some sort of half orc or orc. Do these gums. And a big gum there. And a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow. Maybe it's early, late in the afternoon or early evening. And yeah, the bartender just wasn't having any of it. Was probably asked politely once, and then I imagine the pirates thought, nah, there's one of you and 3 of us. Would be alright. I did try and draw Bjork, the pig-faced orc, in the background. There just wasn't enough room, so Bjork will have to join us for another time. Alright, well, big, strong jawbone. Some more hair. Nice little scar here. Nice little scar there. Big ear. A couple of little holes and whatnot. Little spiked ear in there. Nice rounded one. Yeah, so I hope everyone's enjoying the videos. I'm enjoying making them. I think that's the main thing. And now it feels like every time I've got, I don't know, an extra hour or something, I think, oh, time to draw a little video. It's just a nice little bit of fun. And good practice as well. I think drawing quick sometimes is fantastic practice, and just, again, to learn the pens better and what can be done in a short amount of time. So there were a couple of skin folds. Yeah, so if there's anything you'd like to see, please do let me know. And I think a lot of you are, actually. I'm getting a lot of messages saying, you should do this, or, it'd be nice to see this sort of thing, which is massively helpful, because obviously I don't know what I'm doing. As I've said before, sort of making up as I go along. Not just the drawing, but everything. Right. And he's got kind of like a mohawk, I think he has anyway, and a couple of like little straggly bits of hair, another scar. another scar like that. Another scar. Nice. And then lots of lines, because obviously he's having pressure put on his face. It's kind of like rugby shoulder barging this dude out of the way. You know, it's like, all right, time to go. Which is kind of cool. I did try and draw him punching him for, you know, aesthetic reasons, but I just couldn't get the fist right. And I actually got a reference up and I still couldn't get it, you know, just right. It just felt clunky and weird. So in the end, he's just sort of palming him, you know. Maybe he used to play rugby in his day. A bit of American football or something. Something nice and, you know, nice and physical, you know. He's a good landlord, but, you know, everyone needs a bit of exercise every now and again, you know. Alright, so that's looking alright. Alright, there we go. And, yep, that's cool. There's his Adam's apple, a few more skin folds, a few more hairs. Nice. And we'll do a nice shirt. We're trying to make the shirts a little bit more. I noticed actually when I was looking back on my drawings that the clothing feels a little bit lacking. So maybe if we just throw in a little bit of a pattern or something, it will add a bit more to the drawing itself. You know. And we have to think of a tattoo. You know, he's a pirate. He's probably got some tattoos on him. That was very shaky. Right. Bicep. Nice. Alright, cool. A couple of hairs on his nose as well, because it happens. He's an older chap, you know. Cool. We won't go too far down there because you can't see it anyway, and I think there's enough going on in this drawing not to worry about filling in every single inch. So he's got sharp nails, sharp broken sort of nails, and then his knuckles. Cool. On top of his fingers. Couple of veins. It's warm. Cool. And then nice. And let's get some hairs as well, because I feel like this will be a very hairy drawing. Excuse the terrible puns. No, I just think it adds a little bit more depth to the drawing itself. You know, even though it can look quite messy, but I don't really mind messy today. Some hairs on his shoulders. Hopefully I'm still on the camera. So I tend to forget where the camera is and go on rants. A few hairs on his back. Like so. I was going to do biro today, and I quite like doing biro work, but I thought I really wanted this one to sort of be able to be seen easier. Because some of my drawings, especially on the thumbnails, kind of feel like sometimes they can get lost a little bit. You know, because there's obviously, it's quite thin pen work. So hopefully this will show up a bit better. Yeah, so it's very slapdash hairs, but I think it's needed. Scar there, scar there, got a bit of scars on his elbow, scar there. Nice. And that way we don't need to do too many tattoos, if we feel like it in the end anyway. I feel like the stereotypical mum in heart tattoo would be good. Yeah, I might. Not sure this one actually has the room now because I've done all this hair. Anyway, cool. And it's his chest. And that's the shirt coming around. Nice. A few hairs. Cool. His other arm. I need to do a little bit of inking throughout just so it's a little bit more clear what's been going on. I'm saying inking. It's all inking, isn't it? I know what I mean. Like outlining slightly. So this will make it a little bit slower in order to get it. But we'll see how we do. We'll see how we do today because I haven't really done this before, and even though it is a quick drawing, I think that's okay. Nice. Nice. I won't do his hair inking wise because I don't want to. Cool. Lovely. Do a little hair over his finger. Not his finger, the dwarf's fingers. Alright, cool. Problem is when I'm doing inking quick like this, I tend to forget what I'm doing and I will accidentally ink over something else. So let's see if that happens today. So, this is his left hand sort of trying to grab and grasp what the situation's going on, but I think this has all happened very quickly. I think they went from, drinking an ale, I presume that's what pirates would drink. Oh, I don't know, actually, it's quite warm, maybe a nice shandy. Tastes like summer, doesn't it? Right, there's nail there, a couple of lines. Nice. And then real quick inking. Doing it again, outlining, not inking. It's all inking. It's ink. Right, I do leave that little bit because I'm not sure how the nose of the dwarf is going to interact. And then got the main dude. Like so. We'll do some shading. I think it needs it. There's a lot going on in this one, so I think we need a little bit of help in terms of defining where everything is and what's going on. And there we go. Alright, cool. Quite a big chap. Bartender, short, stocky. Nice chap. There's a wonderful pork pie, I reckon. It's a big nose. I find dwarves so fun to draw because they've got like really exaggerated features, but at the same time, you can make them really quite, good looking, and I just think the strong features are nice to do. And then he's got sort of a dark eyebrow as well. Quite kept actually for a dwarf. A very small front head. Coming right round, well shaved on the head. He's keeping up appearances. And also maybe he's got a few earrings as well. Maybe he's had a bit of a life as a pirate himself, and maybe he knows. Maybe that's why he was so insistent in getting them out of the bar. He was like, oh, I remember me in my younger days. I know how much trouble I'm going to cause, so let's get them out first, Save them a bit of trouble, I don't think he's going to bar them or anything. He's just, he's like, okay, you've had enough. Nice. And again, I think I was drawing beards. I've been drawing a lot of beards lately, and I love drawing beards, especially like long, intricate, dwarven beards. However, I don't know, I was drawing exploring this chap, and he sort of came across as more of a Bronson-y sort of look, and I thought, he looks great, I'll keep that. So here we are. So I'm going to just draw a little bit of a little bit of stubble, you know, manly man. Good high cheekbone, and then put some stubble. Some of it's curling, you know, so obviously he's got a very curly beard. You know, if he ever gave it the chance to grow out again, probably only take him about 2 days. Me, it takes about 2 years to get stubble. Alright, there we are. Yeah, a nice curly hair there, you know, and then, you know, a little bit on his ear. You know, shaves his head well, but I guess a little bit on his ear, but I don't think he minds too much. And then the rest of the mustache. Wonderful mustache, I might add. Sort of just flapping in the wind as he's showing these gentlemen out the door. There we go. Actually, I don't think they're all gentlemen. I think the goblin might be a lady. I think that was the idea I was drawing. But we'll see. They're quite androgynous. Same with this character down here. Let's do that. Yeah, whenever I feel like I draw elves, they're there's not much going on rather than the shape and the sort of the overall effect of them. You know, I like to just kind of see what, I don't know, what the drawing feels like at the end, you know, for the characters and their personalities and backgrounds. He's got a shirt here that's kind of wrapped around there, and a shirt that wraps around right here. Nice. And how are we doing? So then we got this ear. Okay. And then another ear sort of sticking out there. So this is an elf. There we go. I can't really see, the pencil's so light here. Don't know what's happened. Don't know if I oh, you know what? It might just be the fact it's really hot and my gross sweaty hand is all over it. That could be it. And they look a little bit surprised, especially this one. The elf thing, thought he was going to get away with it all. You know, he's just going to have a bit of a laugh at other people's expenses and just be a bit of a pain. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Whoop, I'm off to the races." Alright, there we go. Alright. Cool. Lovely. So what's everyone been up to? Anything nice? I'm sort of thinking about the weather in the UK currently. I don't know what's going on overseas, other than I think everyone's having some incredible weather and, well, incredibly hot weather. Obviously, if it's too hot, it's not great by any means. So I hope you're all staying safe and cool, you know, taking care of yourselves. So this guy's face is a little bit pushed in as well. And then, what was the plan here? I forgot. Oh yeah, right. So, some leather gloves. A little bit more darkening on that so we can sort of see that it's a glove. So a little rip fabric bit, fabric bit. Say that 10 times fast. And then sort of the glove. So the idea is he's kind of grabbing onto the dwarf's his arm, his forearm, trying to free himself. But this dwarf is a strong chap. You know, it's not his first rodeo, for sure. You know, he's kind of the star of this drawing as well. So we gotta give him plenty of love. Like so. Then his arm here, he's gonna have a big rip in his shirt there. Maybe that's why he got angry. Maybe one of them ripped his shirt. He was like, oh, it's my favorite shirt. You know, and then a few hairs sticking out there. And we need to do a little bit of outlining. Hey, you got the right word. So that'll make it a little bit easier to see what's going on. And what we could do is, because I've been talking about making clothes a little bit more interesting, we could give him a little like checkered shirt, can we? So I think this might look either really good or just awful. That's how we see how we do. I add a little bit of something to the drawing rather than keeping it basic and white. Again, we'll have to do a nice long drawing soon. I kind of just take my time and, you know, just have a bit of fun. Lots of hairs. Nice. And then maybe the shirt sort of, maybe it's kind of like a waistcoat. Oh wait, maybe a waistcoat, because we don't want to do too much detailing on the arm here, because we think we might lose it within all the creases of the shirt itself. There we are. Nice. And then another nail there. Yeah, that worked out quite well. Oh, terrible pen control. Sorry, drawing at a weird angle again. And I think we need to outline the mustache, otherwise it's going to get lost. I'm very aware of how rough the outlining is, but I think we'll still have the desired effect by the time it finishes. We'll finish it outline about there. We don't. Here we will. There we go. Cool. We got him. And lots of hairs. Again, it's a very hairy drawing, isn't it? There we go. So see if we can do a few lines on this elf so it looks a little bit more annoyed rather than scared, because, you know, he's a pirate. It's gonna be tough, eh? What am I on about? Right. So there we go. And then his ear, we need to outline that slightly. And then what we'll do is actually draw the hair in advance with the outline, just to save a little bit of time. And then, yeah, that'll do. Nice. So yeah, I had a question actually. I was going to ask something, but that's gone. So anyway, we'll carry on drawing. Right, fingernail. So he's kind of wrapping around the elf, trying to grab onto this dwarf, you know, showing him the door, but not doing a very good job. There we go. I'm going to do a little bit of shade in there. shade where he's holding. Nice. I think this is quite a nice exercise just to sort of find out new ways of drawing quicker. Not that you have to draw quicker, it's just, I don't know, it makes you think on your feet. And then another time drawing, I might think, oh, you know what, I did that for one of the quick ones, and that worked really well. You know, who knows? And then, little forearms. I say little forearms, quite big forearms. And then, sort of his upper arm, shoulder, and then this is the elf's shirt. Or is it like a vest more than anything, isn't it? That looks weird to me. Oh no, the thumb's on the wrong side. Thumb should be there. Right, how do we fix this? Okay, so don't worry, he's got 2 left hands. That's just I thought that looked really weird. Oh dear. Okay, ignore that. He's got two left hands. Oh, that's really funny. See, I was sketching that earlier and I thought, you know, there's something weird about that. What is it? Oh, that's why. Oh. I wonder how many people watching noticed that before I did. I imagine quite a few. That's really funny. Anyway, right. And then this arm as well. And he's got a leather glove on this side as well. Tickled me. Give him the veins. A little bit of hair. He's an elf, so he's got a little bit less hair than the other chaps here. Cool. And then his t-shirt sort of being ripped a little bit, and the movement of being grabbed has made him, you know, flex like that. What was I gonna do? I'll draw like a little skull and crossbones sort of thing, even though it kind of looks like the Punisher emblem. A little bone there, and different little hip bone or something, and then on this side just 2 smaller bones. There we go. And then some creases, even though I should have done creases before, so I could have changed the drawing itself if I needed to. A couple of holes. Cool. And his hip. And then I won't do, I've done loads of details here, but I won't do them. I don't think it's really needed. I'll just do a couple of little bits so you kind of know what was going on. You know, the top of his trousers. He was going to have a sword and all sorts, but I'm not sure if it's actually needed in the drawing. I think it would detract from everything else. So I feel like whenever I draw swords, I tend to overcompensate and make them really technical and interesting to look at, and then you can very easily miss the rest of the drawing. You know, right. A bit of shading. A bit of shading. Nice. Okay, and then on the top here, we have Cynthia, the group's rogue. Yeah, nice lady. Nice little goblin lady. And I was saving, if I was honest, I was saving her for the last because goblins are so much fun to draw. You know, they're just so naughty, and you know, you don't have to be like so accurate as like dwarfs or elves or humans, you can just kind of draw however you want, and they always look quite cool. You know, every time I draw a goblin, it looks different, and it's just dependent on like sort of the look I'm going for that day. So I draw nice little ear. I presume they would have fantastic hearing. So whenever I've seen goblins, they always got these massive ears. You know, I think they have a bit of a bad rep as well, and I don't think Cynthia's helping that reputation, but you know, I'm going to say right at this moment, she doesn't care. She's going to help her friends. You know, maybe they just got a really good bounty and it's a nice booty, some nice riches. They thought, oh, I'll celebrate, I go to the tavern. Have to think of a tavern name, won't we? And she's got kind of this kind of cool mohawk sort of thing that ends in a plait. Just decided now. That's kind of cool. There's a little bit of hair there, maybe one there. You know, that's cool. And then we'll have that plait sort of flowing in the background. Just add a little bit more fun to the drawing. A little bit there. Yep, and we'll have to do a little bit of outlining, even though it will be rubbish, just so we can see a little bit better. Let me know if you like the slapdash outlining, or is it easy enough to see the thumbnails and the drawings anyway? And if that's the case, then I won't bother anymore. Little scarf. And then I'm not really sure what she's wearing. It feels like a potato sack when I was drawing it, so maybe it is a potato sack, but be about the right size, wouldn't it? So yeah, she's got a potato sack and then she got some nice boots and some little shorts. I guess if it's a potato sack, they got these little weave bits. Yeah. Cool. She's got a little knee. Nice. And then she's got her shorts. Nice. So. Nice. Right, sorry. Forgot what I was doing then. I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing a video. Do some shoelaces. You know, kind of the shoelaces are kind of flipping all over the place. There we go. And it's just kind of, maybe it was just like twine or something holding leather together, because maybe it's difficult to find boots her size. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Except for that's a little bit too rounded, but that's okay. There we go. And then the other leg, they'll rip. There we go. Some quick outlining, just to make it a little bit more clear. That's the intention anyway. If it doesn't work, then I won't do it again, unless I do it properly and spend a lot more time drawing something this size, because this is A4. So usually I draw images a lot smaller, and if you've seen my videos before, you'll kind of know why, because it takes me so long to do very little sometimes. What is that? Oh, I see. Sorry, I can't work out what I draw, but it's the other fingers on the other side. Kind of looks like a dinosaur mouth, or a dragon mouth there. bracelet, and then, you know, some scars. You know, as a rogue, probably get into all sorts of mischief. There we go. Cool. And then on the bottom of her shoe there, coming into right behind, she's gonna jump onto the dwarf, I imagine. Probably bite him. She looks very bitey. And then some more earrings. There we go. There's the ear. Do some shading because it's in the background. Cool. And then I've masking taped the drawer in today, so I won't be able to just swing the page around. Only masking tape because sometimes when I'm recording I find myself and the paper going off on adventures and then leaving the camera behind. So I thought it'd be good to try and solve that issue with masking tape. However, because of that, and I don't want to be in the camera frame because that would be weird. I had to draw quite a weird long angle. But that's fine. I think it looked fine actually. Can't really see with the light. I'll have to see at the end. Kind of like you guys. Right, how we doing? Right, let's do some cleaning up, some tidying up. You know, have we got time for a very, very quick penciling, I wonder? Let's not worry about that, but we could rub out. Oh no, we can't. I left my rubber downstairs. So, with that, I hope you've enjoyed our little battle of the greats of for the name of our dwarf. Did we name the dwarf? Maybe we didn't. So yeah, if you have an idea for our dwarf, let me know, and we'll maybe have to have another visit of this dwarf in the future. You know, maybe by then he'll grow another beard, or maybe shave his mustache. Who knows? But yeah, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay, everyone. You all take care. Stay cool. And I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.